What's up? This Big Capadon, Killer Bees on the Swarm, and right now you watching Gully TV with my man Jamil. Stay focused and keep your eyes peeled. 100.
Introduce yourself and tell me about the infamy associated with your name, because like I said, when I came in here, I didn't fully understand where I was at, but I knew I recognized New Jersey weed, man. I had seen that on advertisements, and like I said, I've interviewed Hakeem Green. I've been around the weed culture pretty heavily, but please tell me about the infamy associated with your name.
Specifically, my name, call myself the New Jersey Weed Man, came from when I was coast to coast smuggling. And I used to go to Arizona all the time, pick up whatever. I was a coast to coast truck driver. I owned my own truck, so I used to go grab shit and bring it back here. At some point, I mean, I was doing weed. I was doing pounds of weed, lots of it. At some point, the Mexican boys I was dealing with offered me another something, a package or something. But prior to that, they was calling me Jersey. They always knew. They knew I was from New Jersey. So they was calling me Jersey. So then, this particular time, they offered me couple kilos and something. He was trying to front it to me too. I was like, and I declined it. Like, nah, I'm just weed, just weed. And then they started calling me New Jersey Weed Man. Like, that's really how it started in the mid '90s. When I got on AOL. When AOL first started, dial-up phone, all that. That just was my screen name. And then later, I got busted and I rocked out with it. Like, I'm Weed Man. Fuck y'all. I'm going for it.
So it's branded.
You know? Yeah, it's just bam, it's stuck. I won a couple court cases. I lost a little bit. I dished out some ass whoopings to some prosecutors, and bam, somehow along the way, like, I got kind of famous.
All right. Now, you said this dates back to the 90s, early 90s. This is decades before weed became decriminalized in the state of New Jersey. Okay, so tell me about your decision to jump out there like that 25 years before it became legitimate.
To be honest with you,
like, cause it took nerve.
Yeah. No, I got jammed up on a court case. That's really how it started. I got jammed up in Belmar, Camden County, 40 pounds of weed. I got charged with a first-degree weed possession, with intent to distribute. And it sounded like a slam dunk. When I'm looking at it, like, they caught us, they surveilled us, they got us, if I just cannot sign a piece of paper and walk into prison, I was gonna give them a fight. I had two co-defendants, they signed a piece of paper, please, and went to prison. I was like, fuck that, I'm rocking out. I just need one on my jury to believe in me and say not guilty. I believe in this whole concept called jury nullification, because on top of all the other bullshit I've gotten into, the trouble I've been in, I'm deep down inside, I'm a nerd and I read. And one thing I liked reading about was legal shit and history, so I learned about this whole concept of jury nullification. A jury can do anything they want to do. In my mind, okay, I got caught with this 40-pound case, and it sounds like they got slam dunk, but I only need one. So my argument, now this is 1997, my argument was, weed should be legal. The law's wrong, not me. I don't care if I got caught with 40 pounds or 4 joints. The law's wrong, not me. So I started arguing that I only need one. And the judges and prosecutors just thought I was talking my way into prison. But I got on the ballot to run for Congress under the legalized marijuana party, and I was calling myself the Weed Man. And I got lots of votes, and I got plenty of newspaper articles, but it all was the crazy dude running for office, the zero who's running for office. I had a little black van, I put weed leaves all over, right all around Camden County, passing out flyers and everything. People thought I was crazy, but there was a method to my madness, because I only needed one. The same people who read the newspapers, the same people who are and vote, are the same people who end up on juries. So in my mind, if I can reach the jurors or pollute the jurors with my opinions, because, you know, when they arrest you, Miranda says, anything you say and do can and will be used against you. But again, I'm a nerd. Everything has a reciprocal. Anything can be used against you, can also be used for you. So in my mind, I'm gonna say legalize weed as much as I can, as loud as I can, some members of my jury ultimately one day may agree with me and just say not guilty no matter what. 4 pounds or 4 joints, not guilty. So I went on a campaign. At first, it was about, yes, I believe the legalization, but it was about saving my own ass. You know, I was polluting the jury with all this. It took 3 years to actually get the trial. So for 3 years, I ran for every office I could. I ran for Congress the first year. The next year in between, I ran for like county freeholder. The next year came back Congress again. And then when I was going to trial, I was actually running for Senate. And again, I was taking advantage of the election laws because I got on the ballot. They had to give me some airtime. So I was getting the airtime. Like I said, I was riding around. At one point, I was putting commercials on TV, you know, and I was openly saying, yo, I'm selling weed. I'm using the proceeds to run for office to save my life. You know, people thought, dude, you're talking your way to prison. I'm like, we'll see if they get 12. Let's see. I don't think they can get 12. You get 12 people in a church, and you can't get 12 people to agree to put you in prison for weed. So I was gambling with my life. There was times I can remember going to court, and the prosecutor's mad that I'm doing this. He understands what I'm doing. The public didn't understand, but the prosecutor understood what I was doing. The prosecutor was arguing to the judge to put a gag order on me, make me shut up, not talk about my case, all that type of stuff. And the judge was like, well, he sounds like he's talking his way into prison to me. like why are you going, like, we issue an order, a gag order on it. That's going to be more publicity for him. You know, he's going to argue all these other, he's going to go to federal court, he's going to do everything. Let him talk his way to prison. That's basically what the judge said. It didn't work out that way. The very first day of trial, one of my jurors started crying. I can't send this man to prison. Boom. They kicked her off the jury. It was a first-degree weed charge. Here's what happened, though. I caught the first-degree weed charge in November '97. Trying to get lawyer money up. In February '98, I caught a second one. They was following me. At that point, now I'm a big mouth. Boom. I catch a 15-pound conspiracy case because I didn't actually have it on me, but they, bam. Now, pressure's all on me. One night, like a dummy, I was drunk. I go down to Atlantic City. I got drunk in the casino, gambling. 2 fucking felony cases against me. A girl left me. I had the world falling. Like, it was like one of those moments. I went down to the casino. I started losing. At some point, I snatched my bet back. And I got out of the casino no problem because I walked. You know, if you run, they gonna get you. But it was $15,000. I snatched it back. Got out the casino, everything. But you know, cameras catch up to you later. So then I'm facing the 2 felony charges and this
casino robbery,
casino charge. And I still said I'm gonna rock out. Right in the middle of my trial for the weed case now, the first weed case, not the second and not the other case. One juror starts crying. She wants off the jury. 2 days later, another juror starts crying. While I'm talking, I'm representing myself too. While I'm talking, the jurors are shaking their heads. When I say a joke, they laugh. When the prosecutor says so, I was making fun of the prosecutor too. I was calling him names, everything, right? From my podium as a defendant, a pro se defendant. While I was doing all that, the prosecution and the judge, they can all see, yo, this dude's gonna get a hung jury. After talking all this shit, I'm unconvictable. I was saying shit like that publicly. I'm unconvictable. They ain't gonna get 12. I could walk in your mom's church and you can't get 12. 3rd day of trial, 4th day of trial, they offered me a plea. All the way up to this time, they did not want to offer me a plea.
Mm-hmm. What was the plea?
All right, the original plea was like a 10, like a 10-year sentence. Just
they want you to plead to a dime.
They want me to plead to a 10-year sentence.
In the state.
In the state, but I said no. Then I asked for a 10 flat. 10 flat means you walk in and you're eligible for parole right away, right? So I asked for a 10 flat, and they said no. So all right, fine, we'll start the trial again. And that's when the second lady on my jury started crying, talking about she can't send me to prison. you know, this man is, he's not a criminal. You know, like, like they stopped the trial, had her stand up there and start talking because she made statements back before the jurors and other jurors told on her.
Right.
So she ended up having to get up there and talk, and the prosecution objected and got her kicked off the jury, right? But now, everything I was saying about you can't get 12 was coming true. They offered me all these deals and I said no. And then I capitulated. It's one of the very few times I've ever capitulated, and I still regret this. But what they did was I brought up the other two cases because I was on trial for the first weed case. And that was a 40-pound case, first degree case. Boom, 20 years I could get. Probably would have did 10. Probably would have did 8 at the least. I would have done at least 8. And I got this 15-pound case, which was second degree, another 10-year sentence. And the death by unlawful taking from the casino. 4 years or 5 years. Well, anyway, some 20-something years that I could have ended up doing. But because they were so afraid of losing publicly this dread-headed, non-educated black man, the correction is self-educated, but they look at it as non-educated. If you don't have a PhD behind you, a couple letters, they think you're non-educated. So I always say I'm self-educated. But anyway, I forced them to include the other two cases. And if you give me all 3 cases called a universal plea, I'll take that. And lawyers couldn't get lawyers couldn't get that one off, you know. But they was afraid of losing to me, right?
Right.
So that's what they offered. They offered for the 40-pound case, the 15-pound case, and the death by unlawful taking. They put it all in the same pile. And said, okay, well, you take the 10 flat. I said, I'll take a 10 flat if you also say I'm eligible for ISP. They're like, fuck, you know, I can't get the world. I was like, well, it goes trial. I don't think you can get 12.
What's ISP?
I said, intensive supervised probation. So
Okay.
no jail time. I was going from 40 pounds to this. I'm demanding, but they did not want to lose, right? Then, and I was getting ready to take that deal. Just before I was to take the deal, the prosecutors realized that I used another name sometimes. And this other name, I had a gun charge from a few years before, and I had some program I just skipped out on after, you know, I just went back to my real name. Just left it. They realized I was the same dude right in the middle of my trial. And again, I'll take the plea if you include that too. And it fucking worked. It works. I won. Bam. I got 10 flat. Went to Riverfront State Prison. They reneged on the deal a little bit because I was supposed to be out of prison within 60 months, 60 days. It turned into 17 months. But either way, I got out on ISP for all that shit. And it was because I was arguing this whole jury nullification. You can't get 12. The prosecutors and the lawyers and the judges, they all understood what I was doing. In public, I was just a crazy dude talking about weed. But after that plea, I took that plea and I spent, in fact, they reneged on the deal and said I'd never take a plea again. And then after that, I just openly did what the fuck I wanted to do. And hey, and each time they charged me, I took it all the way out. And I didn't get a conviction after that. At this point, they don't arrest me now because I just put a show on for everybody. and make a joke out of it, which I've done. Ask them. You can go Google. Let me give your audience something to look up. Look up Google NJ Weedman trial begins on YouTube. Just look it up on YouTube. In that particular trial, I wore a weed suit. I demanded that I be allowed to wear a Rasta hat. I wore a necklace that had a big Bob Marley joint on it. And it was a weed suit. I'm charged with weed charges. With jurors, as soon as I walked in, jurors were like giggling, laughing. Again, guilty as fuck. Now, I've had 4 trials after that first one. I won all of them. I was guilty every time, though. But I took it all the way to trial. If you go look, if you just Google NJ Weedman not guilty, you'll see several cases that made headlines. Not guilty. It's because I was guilty as fuck. But it was a weed case. It was a weed case, and times have changed. In '97, when I first started arguing it, people thought it was a joke. Fuck, this dude called himself Weed Man. He got weed charges. He's taking it to trial. What? Later, everything caught up to me. I can openly sell weed like I'm white. Openly say you can't get 12. And here I am.
So you believe in the Constitution? It's
Well,
work
I
for you.
absolutely believe in it, but I believe I could use it too.
Right, right.
That's the problem. A lot of people don't understand they can use it too. So anything you say and do can be used against you, can be used for you. You have a right to witnesses for you and against you. You have a right to fair trial. You have a right to jury trial. All of them things apply to everybody. Very few people take it. I made that one mistake. I took that plea, even though I forced the fuck out of the prosecution. The prosecutor even quoted apologetically in the paper. You know, Mr. Fortune presents a very difficult situation for conviction, so we got the best deal we can get. That's basically what they said. In fact, I can find those quotes from 2000.
You one of the early practitioners of the 48 Laws of Power. You familiar with Robert Greene's books?
I vaguely am. I'm not no expert in it. But
Oh
yeah.
man, you sharp. You everything that he says in the book. Several of the laws court attention at all costs. It speaks about the power and that and shit like that.
Now let me double check. I don't want to confuse Robert Greene with Robert Wright.
Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power.
From North Jersey, who got the
I don't know where he's from. He's a white guy. He just write. Like he got an incredible book series.
Okay. Oh no, I'm not familiar with him. I was thinking of Wright, the guy who represented himself after he got convicted.
Oh, you thinking about Isaac Wright?
Isaac Wright. Right. I was thinking. Okay. No, I'm not familiar with this Robert Greene. No.
Incredible. So you essentially started to brand yourself in this region due to your court cases in the 90s.
Right. Now the funny thing about this is people who follow me because of weed, you know, this weed, this, that, and the other. But people who would not think you would follow me at all, these constitutional law professors, these First Amendment right guys, these constitutionalists, they all follow me, but they follow me because of my court cases. They follow me because of legal arguments I present. Right now, I'm suing the governor. I've been suing the governor for the last 2 years, and it's been going back and forth. I win some, I lose some. I got like 4 cases right now against the state, one way or the other. Against the county prosecutors for a case that they put me in jail for 447 days. They denied me bail. They can't get a conviction, so one of the tactics they took to get me was, all right, charge him and then take away no bail.
Pre-trial detention.
Right, pre-trial detention. And they got 447 days of blood out of me. And that was the only way they could do it. Because there ain't no jury gonna find me guilty as long as I
know you was pissed. Did you
I
sue
was.
him?
I was mad as fuck. I got out and said, now I'm gonna sell weed like I'm white. Hashtag sell weed like I'm white. Get 12 bitches and bam, here I am.
All right. So all of these accolades and accomplishments that adorn the wall. Tell me, how were you able to get in this picture with this state lawmaker for this joint restaurant? Is that where we at right now?
We're in the joint.
All right.
MJ Weedman's joint. So there was a method to my madness, even starting in 97. 97, my real goal to pollute the jury, to change the public opinion, to make awareness about weed and legalizing weed and me saving my life my goal was to get in the paper once a month. That was when I started calling myself a media hoe too. Like, I don't care, one way or the other, I'm getting to the paper. And that's pretty much what I did. You go Google me, you will find stories from 97 all the way to recently. At first it was once a month because that was my goal. Then it became 2 or 3 different papers a week, every other month. Then it became dozens at a time. And it got to the point now, I don't even do press releases too though. I don't really, they follow me now. I can say something on Facebook and 20 minutes later, a reporter's called me asking me about it. But originally, that was the goal, to get in the paper, to get in the press, to reach people as part of my polluting the jury plan. You know, get 12 people to understand me.
Jury
and know
corruption.
Me. Yeah. I openly was bribing the jury, talking about them, told people, hey, when we get out of here, they find me not guilty, come smoke a joint. You know what I mean? Like, I said stuff like that. But anyway, along the way though, because I started becoming this little quirky candidate. In fact, if you Google, you go to CNN, put quirky candidate, you'll see two different episodes of CNN about me being a quirky candidate. But along the way, I kept meeting politicians and people. Like, even right now, I walk down around the State House. Half the white guys walk by me in suits and ties, speak to me. I don't know who they are, but they're state assemblymen, state whoever's. And more on the Democratic side. I got those types that like me, I want to be down with me. So as this whole weed movement has progressed, I've allied myself with a lot of Democrats, even though I'm not a Democrat. I can have a whole bunch of opinions about that too. Because as good as the Democrats appear to some black people, they are just as evil as the Republicans. They just do it with a smile, you know. But there's certain things with the Democrats I like. So I wound up meeting, you know, the current mayor of the town, for instance. When I first met him, he was a state assemblyman. He's the mayor now. He admits he smokes weed.
I was going to ask you that. Of the people who was pursuing you in court, the people that was the opposition, once it became decriminalized and legalized, does anybody say we was getting high the whole time?
Nah, but I would run into politicians and run into people, especially newspaper people, who they couldn't publicly out themselves. They smoked weed. But first of all, I got weed dar. I can tell you walk in the room, I know who smokes weed or not.
You said
right?
Weed dar.
Yeah. Right. But but like the reporter types, them interviewing me talking about weed would be putting words that they would want to say themselves in the paper or the press. They'd want to champion this idea of legalizing weed. So I became that voice of a bunch of different people who wouldn't come front and center and say anything with it, but I had lawyers helping me. You know, I always represent myself, but I didn't represent myself by myself. I always end up having this lawyer, that lawyer. I got a phone full of lawyers now. They want to ally them. They wanted to ally themselves. A lot of them smoke weed.
So the media needed a racehorse for the pro-marijuana opinion at the time?
Yep. And right down here in South Jersey area, I met all the reporters. I knew which ones smoked weed, which ones wanted to hear what I had to say. 101.5, the biggest radio station in the state of New Jersey, 2 or 3 of their hosts smoke weed. Boom, get me on the show, make me a celebrity, make me talk, you know, interview me. It all works. So as a result, hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey know me. And if they arrested me for anything, if they arrested me for weed, any weed charge, man, there's gonna be a pothead on my jury. There's gonna be somebody who totally understands me, totally goes, nope, no matter how guilty he is, which has already happened 4 times. I was guilty every single time. I got a not guilty verdict. I was guilty. Yep. Should have charged me a couple more times because I was guilty every single time. But again, that whole jury nullification thing, I understand how it works. The 6th Amendment is like the greatest amendment, if you ask me, after the First Amendment. Like, you have a right to a jury of your peers. That doesn't mean black people, white people. It just means people who think like you. And that's what I got. I wound up catching a lot of people who thought like me.
Okay. How does one who started out on the criminal side of things find himself in the Wall Street Journal? I know that was that had to stroke your ego like a motherfucker.
I think that was huge. And if you look at the Wall Street Journal, if you Google me in the Wall Street Journal covered me a couple times. And a couple times you go to their website, they got me still 10 years later. My video is on their website. They didn't like, oh, this is old, take it out. No, it was unique at the time, right? Boom. So, but as far as media, I think CNN. I was on CNN twice, and I thought that was the pinnacle. Even though I've done Fox News, believe it or not, Fox News came to my defense one time, big ass article. It got me out of jail though. This is a whole side story. I'm gonna say it as fast as I can, but a judge reneged on a deal with me in court, and I refused to cooperate, and I walked out of court, and they issued a warrant, and they locked me up, and they arrested me. At the time, I was going through a bone cancer treatment. I had to go to California for this free experimental treatment I was getting. So the judge, though, locked me up basically because I refused to sign a plea deal. So he fucking locked me up, right? But I was going to these cancer treatments in California at the same exact time that he locked me up. He actually made me miss 2 of them before public pressure's like, dude, you're not gonna do that for weed.